Hi there. It's been a few days. I thought I'd give you an update on how I am. Well, not so much on how I am, but I had my first meeting with my MS nurse since coming back to the UK. Now, for anyone who's not from the UK, in the UK we have an MS nurse who's a qualified nurse and then can actually prescribe drugs as well, who coordinates your treatment between your neurologist and your GP and the hospital, and basically does all the legwork for you in sort of going between all these different people. And it's actually your first port of call for any MS related things. You can email them, phone them. So in my case, and I presume in most cases or all cases, they come to your house to meet you. And what was interesting about yesterday's meeting is that it was sorted out by another member of the MS nurse team. So I had two MS nurses who, a gentleman and my normal MS nurse, just for point of interest, who is a woman. So they both came to my house, and I wonder why this was. And I think, well, I know now. I did ask, is it because I've had HSCT, and am I a bit of a guinea pig for you? I'm the first HSCT patient that my MS nurse has had, and so yeah, basically I was a guinea pig, and both of them came to my, so two MS nurses came to my house to have the meeting with me to basically see how I was progressing, as if there was anything they could do to help my recovery, and to just talk to me about the treatment and where I was at. And it was a fascinating talk, for a whole host of reasons, many of which I won't go into here. But from an HSCT point of view, they were obviously really interested in the treatment as a whole and how I got on. There is limited experience of HSCT in the geographic area that I'm in, so not just from my own MS nurse, but from other MS nurses in the whole area. I think there was one person that they knew who went to Mexico but didn't have a very good experience with Mexico, and I think was probably fairly high on the EDSS score, and so it didn't. She was or they were a non-responder. So I think the general geographic experience of HSCT, or the experience of people in the geographic area, wasn't great, right? And so what I've been doing in video, in vlogging and blogging my experiences, is actually letting a lot of the experts in the area know what the treatment is and how I've been getting on with it. So I've been really useful, it turns out, for a lot of people, not just HSCT hopefuls and whatnot, but for actually the MS experts in the area. And so that was really interesting, to know that basically I'm a bit of a guinea pig for not just my immediate MS support network, but for the larger community, I suppose, in the area. What's fantastic is that between my neurologist and my MS nurse, there is a hematologist who has a deep interest in HSCT and knowledge, I think, thereof, who my neurologist can draw expertise and answer questions, or have questions answered with. I don't know who this hematologist is, and no idea, or even where they're based. But my MS nurse was telling me that was a really important part of the jigsaw for supporting my recovery. And that's really good to know, because at the end of the day, HSCT is hematology, as I've said in previous posts and rants and whatnot. So that's really good news, that I've got a really proactive MS nurse who's fantastic and is behind my decision to have gone for this. And what she said was really important for me to have done which they really appreciated. Basically, they really appreciate every time I share information with them. So I've been freely sharing all my experiences, but also all my data and information. And I sent them the Russia HSCT information booklet that is available to people who are going on the treatment in Russia. And that really calmed the nerves of my neurologist and my MS nurse. So sending that out was really very useful. My neurologist then had a much better sense of what the treatment I was doing was going to be, how it was going to be managed, and what the expectations were when I came back for supporting me. And under, of course, the Hippocratic Oath, you know, the NHS or any sort of medical professional is duty bound to support and to do the best for their patients, no matter, I suppose, where they had the treatment. Now, the thing with the NHS is that I've had this talk to several people where I said, I understand in the UK why many neurologists and MS sort of specialists, I suppose, react badly against people who are going to get HSCT abroad privately, because the NHS becomes part of who you are, it becomes part of your identity. So when you go to someone in the NHS and say, oh, yeah, brilliant, thanks NHS, but do you know what? I'm going to go abroad. I'm going to go over here to get my treatments. Thank you very much. And that naturally, I imagine this, and it was kind of confirmed that actually that then it's a bit of an insult to the professional that you're dealing with, because they are NHS through and through. And as I said, it becomes part of the identity, and effectively you're rejecting that. You're saying, whatever you can offer me, I'm going to go and get something elsewhere. Now, obviously, the problem in the UK is that HSCT is not offered widely, barely at all. That is changing, and there's loads of interesting news about that. But essentially, that's the reason we go to Russia and these other places to get it. It's because actually we can't really get it in the UK, but it's still a bit of an insult, and it's still a dent to one's, you know, NHS pride. And so I think that's partly behind why many professionals don't support people who go and get HSCT in Russia or Mexico or wherever as much as possibly they could do, because of this kind of personal affront. And so therefore, you know, I've said this before, I was so happy that my neurologist was generally behind my decision. But actually it turns out that my MS nurse was a lot to do with bringing him round, and that was partly because of sending this document, the HSCT information document from Russia, which is a fantastic document. It gives all the information that you need really up front to give you a good understanding of the procedure, and basically it calmed everyone's nerves. And then they said, right, okay, you appear to be in fairly good hands. We now know a lot more about the treatment, we know about the drug regimens, we know about the aftercare. So actually we feel a lot more at ease with your treatment. Yes, we will support you. So there's a little tip to say, particularly if you're going to Russia. I don't really know about Mexico, but if you're going to Russia, send your professionals that document. Or at least with mine, it was really good. And my MS nurse was absolutely over the moon with where I'm at, with how I'm recovering, and with my general attitude. In fact, I'm conceited enough to say it here. She did say I was an inspiration, and I presume with a little bit of explanation, it was, you know, about to these people who seem to be following my journey, both professionals and non-professionals, people who are, as I've said before, people who are seeking to do HSCT, but also people in the area who really want to know about what this is, because for a lot of people it's a relatively new thing, even though it really shouldn't be, and it isn't a new thing. but for the treatment of MS, for many professionals in the UK, it is a new thing, and so therefore, as I've said, I'm a bit of a guinea pig, and they're very interested to see how things pan out for me. So I was talking about all the things I'm doing. We went through I haven't gotten there. I talked to you about the urine tests I do, and she said that because my pH levels have been going slightly up, and that can be due to a whole number of things. I think it's down to my diet and changing back to eating a lot more fruits and nuts, vegetables. I'm having quite going back to being vegan and all these sorts of things, and I think my pH level is going up, which makes it a little bit more alkaline. It can also be the sign of a UTI, urinary tract infection, which is very common for people with MS, but it's also a common thing for people who have had HSCT. And so therefore, she was really useful in pointing out that if you've got a UTI, your pH levels will go up, but actually these other three things on there will also go up, and they will be really strong indicators of you having a UTI. So if you've got a UTI, it won't be your pH levels alone, it'll be this, and your pH levels will be going up. So that was really useful to show me exactly what was happening on there. And the fact is, all my other stats are staying exactly where they should do, and it's just the pH level of my urine. So actually, it looks like it probably is just a change in diet, but it's something to keep an eye on. So we talked about that. We talked about my symptoms, general recovery, the fact that I'm doing all these things correctly. We're keeping the house really clean. All the things I've talked to you about in previous videos. I'm looking after my health. I'm doing yoga every day. I'm going for a walk to strengthen my muscles, as well as the yoga strengthens my muscles. Then I go for a walk to sort of exercise them. I'm extending that walk each day. My diet is hopefully spot on, and so she was absolutely over the moon about everything I'm doing, which is really fab. She said, you're really proactive and dynamic, and you're keeping a good attitude, and so therefore you're in the best place. And she pointed out from the HSCT, from the Russian document, she loved the bit that it's not just about the receiving the HSCT. It's about good lifestyle. It's about good diet, good exercise, and good attitude, and all those things, that jigsaw of things I appear to be in the right place for. So fabulous. So it was a really, really positive meeting. I think it was really interesting for them, as well as being, interesting for me, finding out where they see me at, as well as them offering their support. And it's great because she said, look, when can we see you next? It would be really good to see you before. So I do have my I've got a 3-month neurologist appointment, but she's going to see me again before that. So actually just in May, we're now in, which is so we're at the end of April. So she's going to see me at the end of May. So 1 month from now. So that's great to say that I'm seeing you now. I've got loads of patients. I'm really busy, but actually I'm still going to see you in a month's time to make sure that everything is progressing, and to see how things are working out for you. But obviously they're really interested in me as someone who's post HSCT. So fingers crossed that in still doing all the things I'm doing, I'm giving myself the best chance for this treatment to work, because of course we don't know whether it's worked yet. I say all these positive things, but it's a long-term journey, and you don't know whether your MS has been halted until 6 months, a year down the line, when you can look at MRI scans that have been done and compare them, and then know that your symptoms aren't worsening. So there you go. That I shared literally everything. I shared my bloods with my MS nurse. I said, look, here are my bloods. Straight away, she understood them. She looked at them, said, you are really close to where you need to be already. So that's fantastic. She agreed with me that my bloods didn't test nearly half what, and this I'd hinted this in a previous video, but I've sent an email to my GP to say that, look, you tested me for my bloods, but I don't have liver I need my liver tested, whatever test they do for your liver, and kidneys, and these other things that you didn't test. I hadn't heard back from my GP, but she said, again, great that she phoned my GP to support the fact that I need those tests. She said they're really important, but the stats I do have are exactly where they should be. In fact, she was really happy with them. So that was very positive. Just a really positive meeting, and to have your MS nurse totally in support of what you're doing is really valuable, really valuable. And because she is in support of what I'm doing, she will then feed that back to the neurologist, who will then, and she'll influence my neurologist really positively. So that's really important. So to have your MS nurse on side is actually, or at this stage, almost as important or more important possibly than having anyone else on side, right? Because this is a person that you deal with the most, and then to offer to make phone calls to your GP and to sort this and that out, it's absolutely fantastic. I don't know that I have anything else to really talk about, other than it was a massively positive, like I keep saying, massively positive meeting, and that's genuinely really good. I get a feeling that, and I've said this in previous videos, that HSCT, give it 10 years, it'll be in Britain big time, and hopefully a lot of other places as well will follow suit. Southampton are really close. They're just sorting out all the protocols, but they're definitely well up for getting it sorted in Southampton. That will only be for relapsing, remitting, but that MS. But that's great. That's a start. That's what you want. You want this provided, and eventually people with PPMS who always get left behind, who knows, might get on there. And there's a study going on with, I think, 18 different establishments comparing it to Lemtrada. But again, Lemtrada is being scaled back because of the side effects, so I hear. So that's a really interesting scenario, because if Lemtrada is one of the most prominent drugs, then to scale that back, what is something to replace the efficacy of that most effective drug? Well, HSCT, surely. So I think that in scaling back Lemtrada because of its dangerous side effects or potential side effects, then that gives HSCT even more of a chance to be accepted. So that's where I'm at. That was my meeting with my MS nurse. I'll be meeting with my GP tomorrow and having my second round of blood tests the day after. So I'll probably update you on where I am with that and anything I've forgotten to say about my meeting with the MS nurse. But hopefully that was useful for you. Any questions, fire them away on my YouTube video comments down below, or on my blog comments down below. As ever, please subscribe to this video. I'm trying to get my subscriptions up and up. That'll probably never happen, but I keep saying it. Anyway, thanks for listening or watching, and until next time, see you later.